I'm Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. Today we are with the awesome Dr. Liss. We want to get the year started, and we want to inform you on the latest information for your brain health. Now, as you know, we brag about this all the time. We have bragging rights. Dr. Liss is known all over the world for the vital sign for brain health. Dr. Liss, you are rocking and rolling.
You are so kind. Thank you, Gloria.
Oh, it's so true. And I have to get on to you and Cole about being so chilled about our great success of developing the memory number. Everywhere I go, I talk to people about it, believe it or not, because I know we have bragging rights. So I'm going to continue to brag on it because this is big.
You know what? It is big, but I want to brag on Columbus because it's not just the Columbus Memory Center. Right. It's this community, the Columbus Phoenix City area, the mayor, the city council, Pop Barnes, Colonel House, Mayor Henderson, Mayor Tomlinson. All of these people and the whole community has just been the driving force to make us a bit famous in the world.
Well, but no, you developed the memory number. As great as our community is, you developed that number. No one else did that.
No, it's the only vital sign for the brain in the whole world.
Exactly. And we need to promote that all over the world. No, really, because what I'm finding more is that some of the people are younger that's starting to get Alzheimer's. Yeah. Once upon a time, we thought it was people that was 80, 90, 95 years old. But I do have a family member who is 70s, who already is like halfway the stage. And so we have to really educate people and inform. And that's what I wanted this visit to be about today. I know we did a lot of great community outreach projects last year.
We did.
But we have to start this year on the right foot.
You're right. Well, you know what? I always love sitting next to you because you are an engine. You're one of the voices of the Columbus area that has helped us be so good. Mm-hmm. So thank you for what you've done.
But thank you for trusting me to be a part of this. I think it's wonderful. I think that it will change the lives of many people within the families. And so today I wanted to kind of do a little update on the education, the old drugs versus the new drugs, and what we're finding, what the signs are. In a sidebar, you said to me, people need to walk. Because I was sharing with you, I saw something on national TV. And I said, well, this person said doing exercises. And you said to me, well, that's a puzzle, but this will work on. So share that with the audience.
Yeah, so exercise is a general term, right? And so we talk about exercising your mind, we talk about exercising your body. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about exercising your mind, we're talking about being smarter tomorrow than you were yesterday. That's the first thing, right?
Smarter tomorrow than you were yesterday.
Yeah, that's our mantra around here. Mm-hmm. So everybody has their own passion. My personal passion is history. I read history every day.
Really?
I read it before we came here today. Mm-hmm. Some people's passion is religion or building a toaster or fixing a bicycle.
Or developing the memory center number.
Yeah, or doing anything. But it doesn't have to be my passion, whatever their passion is, and it doesn't have to be a physical puzzle. It can be one of life's puzzles, right?
Life's puzzles.
Yeah, so if you're into politics, the key thing is not to always watch the same station that's telling you something you already know.
Exactly.
Go get your blood boiling on the other station and then argue about why they're so crazy, right?
Exactly.
That's education. So that's one form of exercise. The exercise that you were describing to me a little earlier was a physician coming on and saying, doing things where you're sort of doing almost a dance with your hands and your arms, like touch your knee, touch your chin, touch your ear, those kinds of things. And so that's a puzzle. That's not getting your heart pumping, but that's a puzzle for the mind. What's the next dance step, right?
Okay.
And then there's the physical exercise. And physical exercise can come in many forms. The one that I like to talk about, because it's so simple, right, is a 20-minute walk 3 times per week where you're walking enough that you get a little bit of a sweat. So we want to get your heart rate up.
A brisk walk.
A brisk walk, 20 minutes 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
That's not hard.
That's not hard. So that could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday,
Saturday.
I always say, you can even take Sunday off.
You could take Sunday off. But I say, walk with your loved one direction. Don't talk to them. Don't look at the roses. And then on the way back, stroll back. What a nice time. But that's not the same thing as going to the gym, and I'm not against the gym, but no, I'm not asking anybody to go for an hour a day in order to save their brain. A 20-minute brisk walk 3 times per week, that's not hard.
Okay, and so that other, where the doctor was saying, or that person was saying, your hand, you know, the opposite. It is stimulating the brain.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is walk, because you said it removes the protein.
Yeah. So what we found is that brisk exercise will help drain the brain of the protein that we don't want, the protein that actually causes Alzheimer's disease, which is called beta amyloid. Beta amyloid.
Okay, that's what we want to drain off the brain.
We want to get rid of it.
Okay, all right. I wanted to just reinforce that, because we're trying to educate and inform people. Okay.
So let's switch back to the other one, which is this person that you're telling me about, who's talking about essentially dance moves, right?
Right.
And what that has to do is when you do something with your hand, your arm, your leg, whatnot, then there's going to be a chemical release. If I want to move my little finger, that there's a chemical that's released to tell me to move my little finger, tell the body to move the little finger.
Right.
So if you are now creating this sort of exercise, which is essentially a dance move, then you're rejuvenating all of these neurotransmitters in the brain, helping neural connections, right?
Okay.
And that's got to be good for the brain. That's the exercise of the brain, but not the heart.
Okay, so we want to do, those are good, what we talked about on that national show. But we want people, once again, 3 times a week, 20 minutes. Brisk. Break a little sweat.
Yeah.
Not strolling along.
Yeah. But by the way, don't let me catch any of you on the ground with an ambulance, because I just told you and you couldn't do the 20 minutes, right? So check with your doctor.
Yeah, we always want to do that. Well, I know that we had a lot of changes last year in the old medications that we had. We got some new and improved things that you all are seeing better results with.
Yeah, I want to tell you something that's even more exciting than that. Okay? So the newer drug that we're talking about is called Leqembi. Okay? It is on the market.
Okay.
It is fully proven, no question marks, to slow down Alzheimer's disease for people in the very earliest stages of the disease.
For early stages.
Yeah, it's got to be early.
Okay.
Now, let's take it one step further. We've been working for the last several years on a prevention project where we're using this same drug. We didn't call it Leqembi then. Now we call it Leqembi.
Okay.
We're using the same drug for people who have the protein in the brain but have no disease. We look into the brain painlessly and see if they have the protein. If they have the protein, then we say, well, you're at risk to get this disease. So probably it would make sense to get the protein out. So 2 things I want to share with you. We now know that this drug works for people with early disease, so our belief is even stronger that if we can take the protein out before they get any disease, that we're going to do better. And then maybe even more important, this amazing thing that just a few weeks ago came out, is that we now know that people that are very, very early in the disease have a real leg up. So if you take the people that we're treating, the people at the earliest stage, some of them get such a dramatic slowing that it won't even bother them in their lives. So, So we think we have figured out who those people are, and it looks likely that people who are in the prevention phase are going to be those people. So that's very exciting. We haven't proven it yet, but we think really strongly that this drug Leqembi for prevention could make all the difference in the world. So we need people to volunteer.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, go to our first break to our sponsors, and we'll come right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Whole Patient Healthcare. Dr. Jada Rimes-Bacote is board certified in family medicine. She believes the best patient care includes practical, individualized lifestyle changes. Located at 1338 13th Avenue, Columbus, 706-641-2080, or visit wholepatienthealthcare.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. We are having a fabulous conversation with our one and only Dr. Jonathan Liss.
We are having fabulous
We are. This is all important and good stuff, and I get so excited because you are a subject matter expert, but you really have a heart for the people. And so, yeah, we got brilliant people in different medical professions, but some of them, bless them, they have the personality of an onion. You cannot get anything out of them. They're good in their field, but when you walk in, you bring energy, you bring life. You believe in inclusion, and all of that's very important.
Well, it is important. I appreciate you saying that. But you know what? I just have so much fun sitting next to you that it makes it all great.
Oh, okay. Well, great. So what is our mission? you just said with this, we have identified that some people already have the protein, but they have not developed the disease.
Yeah.
So we need people to get involved on the research side.
We do. And let me just say, because this is just so incredibly important, that hiding from this illness doesn't make you better, right?
Oh,
I love that. if you were thinking you're not going to get a cavity because you don't go to the dentist, that's a mistake, right?
Exactly.
And so in this case, we've had so many giant leaps forward just in the last few years. We can now look into the brain painlessly, okay, and know
How
the
is
proteins.
that painlessly? We're not taking a big needle and drawing out fluid or anything.
There's a couple different ways we can go about it.
Okay.
So let me so I said painless, but let me throw this out.
Okay.
So in this research trial, we now have a blood test. So there's a little poke to
Oh,
get the
okay,
blood,
but not to the brain.
No, just a little poke to get the blood.
Okay.
And that will give us a better than 90% prediction as to whether the protein is there or not.
Really?
Yes. And so if we predict that the protein is there, then we ask a person to get a specialized brain scan, which is painless, right?
Okay, right.
And we can actually see the protein. And so when people volunteer for this, when we started several years ago, we had to go through a lot of tests to see if a person was eligible to get in the trial.
Right.
Now, if a person comes in, we have them sign a consent form to say it's okay to take their blood. We take their blood and we send it off to the lab to see if it's likely if they have the protein or unlikely. If it's unlikely, we thank them for their time, and we really do because we do appreciate it, right?
Right.
And if it's likely, then we ask them to take the next step, which is do a specialized brain scan, see if the protein's there. And if it's there, then it's really important that they're in the trial.
So is this costly to the individual? Because see, now you've piqued my interest.
Yeah.
So the blood test, is it done here or you send them out to a lab?
So it's done here, but let me just say this, that it's not costly. Everything is paid for by the research company. And when anybody comes in for research, we pay them not so much for their time, but really for their expense. Yeah,
right.
I think they get $50 for coming in.
Right, well, that's paid for the petroleum to drive here.
That's literally what it's
and
for.
And after they leave here, they can probably stop and get a burger or something.
Yeah, and the reason for this is really important. It's because we wouldn't want to take advantage of people without funds. We want people to volunteer for this because they need the money.
Exactly.
We want people to volunteer for this because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
So rich or poor, you get a small check every time you come in here to make certain no money's coming out of your pocket.
Okay, so with the blood, we get the blood test and we're looking for that protein.
Yes, right.
The reason why you want us to walk.
Yeah.
There are some that might have the protein but have not developed the disease.
Lots.
Right. And so then if we see the protein from the blood work, that's when you have them get the scan.
Yeah, so and then if the scans show that they have that, then they come into the medication aspect of this trial. Half the people will get the medication, which is called Leqembi.
Right.
Half the people will get placebo, which means water, right? None of us will know which one they're getting, but there's two good things here that happen. If you're getting Leqembi, we will drain the protein out of the brain. That is for certain. Okay?
Wow.
It's amazing, right?
Right.
If you're getting the placebo, we're watching you very closely. If you start to have any changes in your thinking that would indicate that you're starting to get worse, we'll take you out of the research trial and get you Leqembi.
Okay, and just give you a regular care.
Yeah, regular care, but really important care where we know we can slow down the disease.
Right. So when we're getting this brain sex, insurance is a very different world than when you and I first started out. Now you need approvals for this, that, or whatever. So if someone comes into the trial, it's not costing them their personal insurance.
We don't ask them any information about their finances.
Or their personal insurance.
That's what I mean. Their finances. Yeah,
Right.
I mean
Right.
they don't need it. Nobody needs insurance.
Right.
Nobody needs to have a dollar in the bank.
Okay.
What we need is somebody of goodwill that wants to take the best care of their health, that wants to help society, help their families, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have a drug on the market that prevents Alzheimer's disease in a few years.
Right, because a lot of people are just really pessimists. It's like, well, what's the catch?
Yeah.
And that's why when Cole is
it's a good question.
Right, no, promoting on social media and other platforms that even the memory number is free, it's important that they know that it's not going to cost their work insurance or whatever. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to be clear and have you, the person in charge of this wonderful project, say, no, it's not going to cost you a dime.
Let me look into the camera and say it. That research is always voluntary.
Right.
Research is always free. All right. And research, it's about you. So if you volunteer for research and then you decide you no longer want to be in research, there's no penalty for leaving research. Okay. And that could be a great reason. I'm moving to London, right?
Exactly.
Or it could be, it's just too much hassle for me. I don't want to do it. So it's always about the individual. You never give up your individual rights, okay? Right. And my job as the director of this center is to always make certain that your questions are answered, that we're adding hope rather than anxiety,
Right.
and that you go out and brag about your time with this, because that helps us get 5 more people to come in.
See, I love that. So if there's an issue, you're the go-to.
I'm
The
the
buck
go-to.
stops with you.
It does. I tell
Exactly.
people when we have a conversation, because we'll always have a long, what we call consent conversation, so people know what we're asking of them, what the the pluses and minuses, what the catches are. They're not
Exactly.
really catches, but the things that they would go through. And then I always tell them, I always finish off by saying there is a lifetime warranty on this conversation, because
I
the
love
best
that.
way for us to do well is
Yes.
for you to feel great about your experience.
Exactly. And if they feel great about it, not only will they tell 5, that 5 will tell 5, and I believe in that. I know that works.
And let me say, it has worked because, as you were kind enough to say at the beginning of the show, is that Columbus Memory Center in Columbus, Georgia is known all over the world for Alzheimer's research and Alzheimer's care. And that happens.
And you're so humble with that.
What?
He says Columbus Memory Center, but it's really Dr. Jonathan
Oh, well,
Liss
it's
of
kind.
the Columbus
I-
Memory Center. No, we have to, as a mother, I have to make sure you take credit for your work. That's another thing for me. We have to make sure you take credit
It's so
for
much.
your work.
It's so much bigger than me.
It is. The mission is.
And
but
it couldn't happen without this incredible community. It couldn't happen without people like you.
I know, but we still have to.
I'm a small cog in a big wheel.
Yeah, but it took you to develop that number.
Well, it was a good inspiration.
Right. I mean, and you put in the work.
Yeah.
And so, as a
we
mother,
continue
I
to do
have
that.
no shame. I have to
Well, I
applaud you.
appreciate it.
I mean, really, it
Yes,
is what
we-
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go to our final break to our sponsor. We're going to come back, and then I want us to talk about the old medications that some people might be comfortable with
Okay.
versus the new medication, because some of us,
Yeah.
as we mature, we don't like change. And then I want to make sure that we go over who is allowed to be in these trials. What's the age group that you need for each
Sure.
of the research projects? Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to a break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
David Benefiel at the historic Highland Hall, florist extraordinaire, making dreams come true for all occasions. Visit David and his team today at 1504 17th Street or call 706-324-4881, where happiness blooms. The Columbus Memory Center, 7196 North Lake Drive, Suite A, Columbus. Dr. Jonathan Liss is a board-certified neurologist and sleep specialist committed to battling Alzheimer's by preserving independence, offering you the opportunity to get your memory number for free, the only vital sign for brain health. Call today at 706-327-4000 or visit columbusmemorycenter.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. Always an awesome visit with the brilliant Dr. Jonathan Liss. Put us on the map, Muscogee County, Georgia, all over the world. He's on stages and daises telling the world about the Memory Center and the only vital sign for brain health. We have bragging rights, international bragging rights. We should do a commercial on that.
We should. I was just lecturing. in Amsterdam about this very topic.
Yes, all over the world.
We talk about our center in
Yes.
places like Amsterdam, the United Arab Emirates,
Yes.
and Spain. All these places, they know us. It's wonderful.
I know, because you've worked very hard. Okay, so we had some old medications, and some of us in our maturity, we don't like change.
No.
But when we get a better medicine that can help us, we need to be willing to make the change. So I wanted you to share with us what some of the old, we have a sample there of something that was used when we first started out,
Still
and now
being
we got something
Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah.
And I want you to share with our audience.
Yeah. So let's
And then
talk about.
also, before we run out of
Yeah.
time, we want to talk about the age requirements for the different research.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, let's just take it. I'll do it relatively quickly.
Okay.
But here's the point: is we have different ways in which to now attack the illness, right?
Right.
When I started, we had no tools in the toolbox 30 years ago.
Mm.
Then we developed a single hammer, and that hammer stayed there for a lot of years, right?
Right.
Then we got a hammer and a screwdriver, and that stayed there for a long time, right? And now we're getting more tools in the kit, okay? So a drug that is on the market that you refer to as old, but it's not really old. This one's called Aduhelm.
Okay.
The reason why we feel like we have new and improved is because Aduhelm was approved by the FDA, but had not been fully proven. The FDA decided to let it come on the market because we needed something, and there's a good reason to believe that it actually does a good job, but it wasn't fully proven.
Okay, now what was the one before Aricept or something?
So there's
someone told me about.
Yeah, that's right. So there's some oral medications. That was the Aricept. Even before that, there was one called Tacrin. That's what I'm referring to as the single hammer, right?
Okay, the single hammer.
Yeah.
Okay, those are single
and we still use these drugs because they work entirely differently. They're not very powerful, so I'm not going to brag about them.
Right.
But I'd rather have them than not.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And then we brought in one called Memantine, and Memantine or Namenda is only works in people pretty far along in their illness. So we only use it there, but we do use them in combination as a person progresses, right?
Okay.
And now we've got this new set of tools that are trying to go after people at the very beginning of the disease, at the first inkling of the disease, right?
Okay. That's why the memory test is important.
That's why the memory test is everything, right?
Okay.
And so we started out with this drug called Aduhelm, and now just about a year and a half later, we have developed Leqembi. Leqembi is fully proven, without a question mark, to slow down disease for people in the early phase. But if you're past the early phase, you've missed that opportunity.
Exactly.
And it's a killer for me as a doctor because when I tell people that I believe they have Alzheimer's disease, it can often be a tearful moment.
Yes.
But imagine the second set of tears when I tell them they're a bit too late for the newest drugs on the market.
Exactly.
So we got to get people to take brain health seriously.
Right.
And that's why your message for us is so important.
Well, yes, and we don't want to keep saying their memory slipped. If their memory is continuing to slip, let's be proactive. Yeah. Let's just not wait until we're too far down the road and you can't walk it back.
That's exactly right.
So we don't want to keep it a secret because you're not helping yourself or the family by keeping it a secret.
Yeah, and let me just tell you, Gloria, that in about 6 months, roughly, we'll have another drug on the market.
Okay.
And so we're moving forward. And in our research, you mentioned we talked a little bit about research. In our research, we are working with so many different compounds. We have numerous research trials, so something to fit almost anyone. We have one actual short-term research trial that is designed to see if we can make a person actually think better, not just slow down disease, but think better.
Wow!
Right? We've got medications that are oral in our research, and we've got medications that are injections or infusions in our research, and they have many different mechanisms of action. So our toolbox is starting to fill out, and soon
more options.
More options. Like I could be a handyman at some point.
So the ages. So we're looking at age 40 to...
So let's talk just real briefly.
Okay.
So first of all, I don't want to get young people too worried about this illness. Let me just give some numbers. So from 65 to age 74, 3 people out of 100 have Alzheimer's disease. So that's 3%, right?
Right.
From 75 to 84, it's 17%. So that's roughly what, 1 in 6, something like that?
Right.
Yeah. And then from 85 and above, it becomes very, very common. As you age, it goes from probably 1 in 3 to 1 in 2. Okay,
Right.
So age is a major criteria. Occasionally, a younger person does get it,
Right.
And certainly, unfortunately, people with Down syndrome get it very young, very frequently.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's sometimes where you'll see even a 25 or 30-year-old with it.
Okay.
So and then there's the rare case where a younger person gets it. But so for our research trials, mostly they're geared towards getting a bit older because you're more likely to find people, right?
Right.
But if you look at our prevention trial, it's age 55 to 80, okay?
Prevention trial.
So a 55-year-old may be starting to accumulate the protein that we need to get rid of, right?
Okay.
But
they don't have the disease.
No,
Okay,
they just have,
so that's the
they won't even
prevention.
know. We have to show it them.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Okay, that's the prevention trial.
That's right.
In the 50s.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, most of our other trials go from, and it roughly changes, but age 60, most of them are age 60, all the way up to age 90, and there's going to be some variation. Some are
Right.
85 or 87, things
Right.
like that. But we need people because people need to help us cure this disease.
Yes.
And in the old days, when I was first in this, we asked people to volunteer for the next generation. But guess what? You're the next generation.
Exactly.
Your parents, my parents, our grandparents,
Yes.
they helped us get to this point where now when we give a drug, we're helping society, but we're trying to help you.
Exactly. Okay, so there's no excuse. We got the memory number for free. They can walk
Stop in anytime.
No work insurance, no money, no appointment.
No appointment, no cost, no doctor. Just come and take it. This is for you, your personal knowledge, and what you do with it, you'll make your own choices, right?
Right.
If you get a great score, you can go brag to your friends. If
Right.
you get a score that's not good enough, then you probably should go talk to your doctor and see how to make the score better, because most of the time it's not dementia.
Right.
Lots of times it's depression or anxiety or things of that nature.
Oh yeah, depression, anxiety, distractions. There's
Yeah.
too many things going on.
Yeah.
'Cause we live in just too much stimulation. It's just too much stimulation everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's music there and music and social media and,
And let me tell you, there's no such thing as multitasking. The brain does one thing at a time. So somebody who's a good multitasker is somebody who can take their attention from here to there very quickly.
Right.
But it's why we can't text and drive. We don't do two things at once.
Exactly.
You're either texting or you're driving.
Exactly. Something's going to fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Okay, so give them where we're located. And
we're next to the Social Security office at 7196 North Lake Drive. And you can find us on the web at columbusmemorycenter.com. And our phone number is easy to remember too. It's 706-327-4000.
all right, and you all have done so much in the community with the faith base, with other community organizations trying to get this message out. I just want to thank you for what you have done over the last few years, all the town halls, all of the grant investments, all of the community activities, and the awesome Cole has been boots on the ground, and we've had him out at community events, and more people are learning. And that's what we want to continue to educate and inform so we can have the best health, brain health. So we thank you for all that you do, and we thank you so much for supporting us.
Thank you, Gloria.
All
We
right.
feel very honored.
All right. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.